We all share the same earth and sky, and today, reflections on who is the best teacher. A while back, somebody had come to me and, 12 step recovery. And so what they had done was is they had fired their sponsor. And so they were asking me to sponsor them. So the question was obviously, for me, how can we fire your sponsor? And what they said was, well, they kept wanting me to do the 4 step and do this and do that. And I really didn't want to do that. And I felt like, they were sharing all this experience with me. But honestly, I think I was pretty much right more than they were. And I told him, get the fuck away from me. He said, why? Why? I said, the relationship sometimes, not all the time, but between a sponsor and a sponsee, there's this expression in the basic text that says, it reads, the masks have to go. And so the relationship, a lot of times, not all the time, with a sponsee and a sponsor is the mask, it doesn't just come off, it's progressively, slowly, sometimes quickly, peeled off so that the person's authentic face is exposed. And the ego doesn't like that. It fucking hurts. So when people say, "Oh, my therapist is the best therapist in the world," I just always feel so good when I come out of seeing my therapist. That could be a good therapist, but also there's the potentiality that what's going on with that therapist is the ego is being solidified, coddled, and mollified, and so of course it likes that, and so it's like this experience that I had with someone where in another 12-step fellowship, because I was just going to do a look and see, because I wanted to see what they were about. And a bunch of people were talking about that they work steps with themselves. And I said, you're not working steps with an external sponsor? And they said, well, no, I feel confident, and because they weren't addicts, like we're addicts, or the people that I run with are addicts, you know, um, they thought that they were better than addicts. And I said to one particular person, expecting the ego to get rid of itself is a fool's errand. It only guarantees that the ego structure, toxic or good, whatever it is going to remain in place. There is a story at Daiba Kongoji that has the uh, benefit of being true. That's told, and it's there's this thing called Doksan, which is private interview with the Roshi or the teacher, and this is when someone Nakago and Roshi was there, and so people would run in because that's the thing in Rinzai Zen. They run in to see the teacher. And so, like, they would open the door and they would present their koan or whatever they're supposed to be doing with Roshi. And he would come up and he had a no mask on. And he would take the mask off and say, I've taken off my mask. Now you take off yours. And they wouldn't know what to say because the truth is, it's very extraordinary, inordinary that someone has the ability to remove their own mask. And this is why community relationships, not having a bunch of yes people around is so important, because without that ability, the ego is extraordinarily effective and tricky at maintaining its presence and intrusiveness and invasiveness in our life. And so, this peeling process, being with my sponsor, hearing everything that I don't want to hear or the I doesn't want to hear, can be extraordinarily anxiety provoking, can be deflating, because it needs to be. Because how else would we ever let go of our bullshit? And so, if there's no pressure, there's no diamond. If there's no meaningful effort, just superficial or kind of going through the motions effort, this is one of the leading reasons why unhealthy behavior is maintained. And by maintaining that unhealthy behavior, suffering is maintained. And that's the real deal of this practice. It's not that we're here to learn how to suffer better. As Jimmy Kennan said in the Narcotics Anonymous basic text, the deal is to be fully whole and wholly free, not partially whole and selectively free based on how our head is talking to us. Because if I'm always assuming that I'm right, then I'm insane. Because my ego, my inner eye can run a lot of ops that are extraordinarily convincing, yet still not correct. And so having that reflective measure of a sponsor, a Zen teacher, a mentor, or someone who is willing to meet not just our shiny happy person, but the inauthentic person so that we can be freed from it is a beautiful thing. So mind you, I'm not saying go out there if you're sponsoring or you're Zen teaching people to be a fucker to them. That's not it, because that's not compassionate. That's not awakening. That's not Sujo Muhen Segundo. However innumerable all beings are, we vow to care for them all. That's just some more bullshit. But being in presence with a person and based on their karma, their conditions, their where they're at, their ability. Sometimes it comes off fast, sometimes it peels off slowly, but we still hold them with unconditional positive regard to the best of our ability. Not perfectly, just our ability. But this idea of self awakening, even for Shakyamuni Buddha, is 100% not true. He had many teachers before sitting his ass down in front of the Bodhi tree. Expecting the mask, which also in Latin means persona or personality, to automatically go based of its own accord, I've honestly never seen. I am fortunate to Edo Roshi, Genjo Roshi, Chigan Roshi, Shinge Roshi, to my sponsors for helping continuously, because the mask also, and this could be the last thing, because the mask is not a pet rock. It's coming from this gray matter and is a projection of mine, and the mask is a kind of shield. The shield wants to reassert the shield. So, sponsorship, mentorship, trainingship between teacher and student, the nature of the relationship by nature is equally unequal. I appreciate you.